Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
So today we'll go through a bit of linear regression and how is that going to help us in day-to-day decision taking in terms of business and in terms of marketing. So before understanding linear regression, let's drill down a bit about a small amount of data. Let's understand. Okay. So I'll be talking a lot about in and around about the data. What does that mean? How is that going to help here? So now let's say I want to see in this situation. I want to see whether my sales is increasing as I increase advertisement cost or not. So I will first I will give you a background story and then we will go into a topic. Okay. So now let's understand with this sales. So they have simulated, XYZ company has simulated. Now there is a sales which is happening at advertisement cost. For that we are incurring. So now by looking at this, can we say that by increasing advertisement cost, sales is also increasing? Not sure. Not sure. Couple of times it will increase, couple of times it might increase. So what are the tests what we will see whether both are correlated or not? First thing is simple correlation test. We'll do a correlation test to see whether X is dependent on Y or Y is dependent on X. Means how much closely they are connected. Correct? So if they are closely connected positively or negatively. First test what do we do is correlation. Now let's say you guys are well versed with Excel. Fine? Pretty much? Okay. Now let's say we do a correlation test. Okay. What does this say is 0.67? Means there is a correlation between sales and advertisement cost of 0.67. Means strong correlation, positive correlation, right? What does that mean? If I increase my advertisement cost, my sales will also increase. Highly correlated, right? So now let's say, what does that mean? 67% correlation means if I increase my advertisement cost by 1 rupees, my sales will increase by 67 units. No, that is not going to help us in understanding. The biggest issue what happens in market is the business people or the boss who are sitting above us. Now let's say if I go and say them that okay, if you increase your advertisement cost, sales will also increase. Next question comes is by how much? If I invest 100 rupees in advertisement cost, give me the number the sales will achieve, which is the biggest question mark, right? So the correlation will help us in only understanding, okay, which are the variables affecting my sales. Now let's say I am running a brand. Now let's say I am running Pepsi. Now there would be a lot of variables. Like let's say for example branding cost, advertisement cost, packaging cost, right? So I want to see by increasing what my sales will increase. Correct? Now, for example, I have invested in a lot of advertisements. Now, let's take an example. Now, let's say I am selling laptops. Okay, so there are laptops which I am going to sell and I am investing in promotions. So, generally we call this as market mix model, which is majorly used in market to understand where should I invest, in which vehicle. Now, let's say Google I have invested, Facebook. So, everywhere for each of advertisements I have put up X amount. Let's say for Facebook I have put $50, $100, $30, like this for different vehicles, advertising vehicles. Now, if I increase, first thing is how much should I increase? Or first thing is which is my first priority? Should I invest more in Google than in Facebook for advertisement? Or should I invest more in banner or in YouTube? So this is the biggest question in market. So before that, first what we try to understand is, are these two variables connected? Investing in Facebook, will that help in increasing my sales or not? Investing in my Google is driving my sales or not? For that, first what we use is, we use a simple correlation. If this is above 0.5 or above 0.6, we say that both are correlated. Means if I touch one variable, another variable will also increase. Fine, this is a first statement. So according to our statement hypothesis, okay, advertisement cost is helping to increase my sales, done. But next question comes is by how much? That cannot be answered by your correlation. Clear on this? Any doubts? Simple from application standpoint. Now what next? What should we do next? Now let's say there are a couple of other variables. Now let's say height of a salesperson. Now let's say the length of tides, waves in Arabian Sea. Will that affect my sales? It should not, right? If we do a correlation between height of sales and sales, height of a salesperson and sales, if it is going to give us positive correlation also, that doesn't make sense. So first thing is we should be domain wise also expert about the data. Okay. Next thing. Now, even the less, if the correlation between sales and advertisement cost is less, what does that we can say is advertisement cost is not affecting sales, so we'll not touch advertisement cost. We'll play with other variables. We'll try to invest in other variables. That's the implication from correlation. Clear now? Any doubts? Clear? Yes. So simple standpoint is first do a correlation between your X and Y. Okay. So if you want to increase the sales or if I want to play around the sales, which are the variables affecting my sales? So we'll do a correlation. If the correlation is above 0.5 or below minus 0.5, then we say that yes, this is driving my correlation. Have a strong correlation between X and Y. Okay. So next question comes as, okay, this is 0.67, that doesn't sense. Okay, if I increase my advertisement cost instead of 200, if I make it to 201, what would be my sales? That is a biggest question what market wants to understand or what investor wants to understand. Okay. Now, for this correlation can't answer. So what next? So for that, our linear regression will come into picture. So correlation will help us to understand the direction, towards which direction my analysis is going, whether it is positive, whether it's negative. Now let's say it is something like, I want to travel towards Majestic. If someone says go towards south, by how much kilometer? That is not answered by your correlation. It will just explain, okay, in this direction. Now linear regression, how the linear regression will help you? Linear regression will help you to explain, if I increase advertisement cost from 200 to 201, my sales will increase by this much. That is explained by linear regression. Clear till now? Okay, let's jump on to linear regression. So before running on to linear regression, let's see a simple this is a simple scatter plot. What it explains us, so this is my, let's say, simple 100 to sales versus advertisement cost. Simple scatter plot. What is this explaining? So if I invested 82 rupees in advertisement, it gave me a sales of 100. Simple, X and Y. Simple, positive trend. It is increasing. On an average, we can say if we increase my advertisement cost, sales is also increasing. Simple. That we can infer from our advertisement cost also. Now, how much? That we have to get answer from our linear regression. Okay. So let's jump on to PPT. So what is regression? So what is regression? Regression is a functional relationship between your dependent and independent variables. Okay. Now, independent variable can be one or multiple. Now I want to see my sales is, how is my sales is getting affected. If we have multiple other variables like advertisement cost in Google, advertisement cost in newspaper, advertisement cost in, let's say, banner. So those things are called as independent variables. So our independent variables are signified by f of x, x1, x2, x3. Now regression analysis is the process of constructing mathematical statistical model or function that can be used to predict or determine one variable by other variables. Basically, regression is a function, or we can say it's a straight line, y equals to mx plus c. Equation of straight line we are trying to fix, or we are trying to simulate y versus x. We are trying to fit a straight line on y with x. Now, regression is an analysis, statistical analysis used to infer the magnitude and direction of a possible causal relationship. So, regression will give us both. It will give us magnitude also, it will give us direction also, both the ways. Relationship between an observed pattern and variables assumed to have an impact of an observed pattern. So what does this mean as? Linear regression, first thing what it explains us, it explains the relationship between your y and x. Now let's say I want to see relationship between sales and advertisement cost, whether they are related or not. Okay? Whether they are related or not, first thing we did a test by using correlation, done. Next we go for a linear regression, yes, that will help us to understand both how much is explained by linear regression and also explained with the help of your direction, how much direction and the magnitude, both it is going to explain us. That's the linear regression. How many types of linear regressions are there? Now if we have one independent, then we go for linear or non-linear, simple non-linear. We have more than 2 independent variables. Again, in linear we have multiple linear regression, non-linear we have multiple non-linear regression. In this session we will try to understand one simple linear and one multiple linear regression model, both of them. Now let's understand where we can use our linear regression. Now let's say government will come up with a problem saying that okay, there is an insurance company, you want to understand the causes of accidents which are leading on a highway to help setting up premiums approximately. So now I want to fix up the premium, or now let's put a pause on that. Let's try to understand. Let's try to understand from a practical standpoint. I want to sell my used vehicle. Okay, I have a car. Now let's say I have a car. I want to sell in the market. Now, on what parameters do we come at the arrived price? Now let's say I have a car which I brought it at, let's say 10 lakh. Now I want to sell in the market. By what cost we can sell it? By what? Now let's see, should I sell it at 5 lakhs? Should I sell it at 6 lakhs? Or should I sell it at 7 lakhs? Biggest question? Yes? So now, how can we arrive that? So we have different other X variables. Now, how do you decide at the price? We have, let's say, how many kilometers we have driven, correct? And let's say, what is the mileage that I'm going to get and how many years I have used the car. Based on that, the person will pitch, okay, this is the amount at which you can sell this your used car at the market, correct? Agree? So both we are calculating at the back of mind with the help of other independent variables, what would be my dependent variable, right? So same linear regression will also help us to. So what does that do us? It will try to build a relationship between your independent variables and dependent variables. Now coming to this example, now what they did is, they want to fix up the premium for our insurance, how much they have to pay. So what they did, they they collected different set of vehicles, what accidents have happened, what is the purchase, for how many drivers were made, all of those, and they did a simple linear regression analysis. If this makes a bit difficult to understand, now let's Let's take another simple example. Let's take another simple example. Now let's say, for example, let's say, okay, weather control. Okay, how much rainfall will happen? That would be a biggest question mark, right? How much rainfall? Whether 2 centimeters or 3 centimeters or 4 centimeter rain, right? Biggest question. With a given windfall or temperature, or with a given set of different x1, x2, x3s, what would be my y? That would be a biggest question. So that can also be helped to understand your linear regression. With the help of linear regression, generally this linear regression runs at the climate center, and it will give you how much rain it will happen. That's the one more example. And now let's say, so these two are widely used. Now let's say, for example, now